Episode 18, The Bones Beneath the Tree. 3 a.m. Stop. Stop. Bang. Died. Then, I already did. No. Old John gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and woke up. He looked around. The house was dark. From the corner came the steady, oblivious sound of Tuak and Bao sleeping. Old John unclenched his hands and made himself breathe. Same dream again. Third night in a row. He rubbed his temples and looked toward the corner where Tuak lay. In the dream, Tuak had killed someone again. He was still trying to determine who, while he sat in the dark shaking off the fragments of the nightmare. Something else caught his attention. The door. It was standing slightly open, and outside it, a human-shaped shadow. Old John stepped through the door immediately, knife-ready instinct moving his body before his mind caught up. But the shadow was Master Luong, sitting calmly on the long bamboo chair on the porch. Without turning around, the old man said, "Can't sleep. I thought I heard you just now. Another nightmare?" Old Zhang exhaled. "It's you. You nearly gave me a heart attack. Why are you sitting out here at this hour?" Master Luong replied, "There are things from the past I need to hold and consider, and this trip is different from every other I've taken. I've always worked alone. I find myself wondering, bringing these people in with me, is it the right thing or the wrong thing? Because everyone who comes will face a real threat to their life." Old Zhang sat down on the ground nearby. "Each of us chose to come for our own reasons. That's not something that can be put on you. We need you, and you need us. We said we were a team. Unless you think I'm too old to be useful, afraid I'll only be a burden." Master Luong shook his head. "That's doing me an injustice. When you agreed to come, I was genuinely grateful. Never mind your age. Looking at that body, no reasonable person would guess 60, but more than that. I can see it in the scars. You were a soldier once, or something close to it." Old Zhang smiled. Sharp eyes. "Yes. When I was young, I fought alongside the North Vietnamese armed forces, not as an official soldier, more like a partisan, one of the local fighters who moved with them through the forest. In those years, the bond between fighters and the people who sheltered them was like water and fish. We went through everything together. Rain, bombing, starvation, fear. The scars are my medals." He laughed softly. "Don't worry, I will do everything in my power to protect everyone." Master Luong thanked him. A silence settled. Then old Jiang sighed, his face shifting into something that wanted to speak and wasn't sure it should. Master Luong asked, "Is there something difficult you need to say?" Old Zhang replied, "Master Luong, I've had the same dream 2 nights in a row. You might not believe it. I understand. But I rarely dream at all. And when I do, what I dream about tends to happen. Not always in exactly the same way, but the shape of it always comes true. This time, the dream has been very clear, very real, and I don't know whether I should say anything or not." Master Luong replied, "Dreams have been taken as omens since ancient times. What did you dream?" Old Zhang described both nights' dreams to Master Luong. The forest, the 4 of them, the chaos, the blood in his hands, and most significantly, Tuak holding a knife, killing someone. He paused, then continued, "That makes me think. You said yourself that the poison goo worm can inhabit a person, can be used to manipulate their behavior. You treated Tuak, yes, but if Mochak is still reaching out somehow, is there a chance he could find a way back inside Tuak's mind? Could there be a time when Tuak is no longer himself? Master Luong was quiet for a moment. When he was still at Mr. Monk's house, he had considered the possibility that a poison goo worm could only control a host from within a certain range, and that beyond that range, the worm simply killed the host by consuming them from the inside. But then, Mokuoch had died in Monk village, far from the Mist village, in a way that had all the marks of Mochok's reach. The story of the corpse holding the knives, the timing, too much to dismiss. If Mochok could kill a man at that distance without ever meeting him, then distance offered no protection. But Tuak was the most important person on this journey. He was the only one among them who had actually lived inside the Mist village, who had memorized the layout of the village with his extraordinary mind, who had been there on the ground and survived. Without Tuak's memory, finding the village was harder. Without his knowledge of its internal geography, they were blind. Master Luong said, "Ancient wisdom says that in dreams, the living bring bad fortune, the dead bring good. A dream of death is not necessarily an ill sign. This dream arrived right at the moment of our departure. It sounds frightening, I know, but don't let it consume you. I treated Tuak myself. I don't believe Moshuk can reach his mind again. And if anything should change, if something goes wrong, I will find a way to address it." Olzhang's breathing slowed. There was something in Master Luong's voice that was simply reassuring, independent of logic. Olzhang exhaled. "If you say so, then I'll rest easier. It's just a dream after all. Tuak is a good young man. There's no real reason to suspect him." He shook his head. "Come on then. It's almost dawn. Neither of us is going back to sleep. Let me start cooking something for when the boys wake up." Master Luong smiled. "I'll listen." The two old men settled into the quiet pleasure of preparing a meal together before dawn. Inside the house, Tuak and Bao slept deeply and without dreaming. Perhaps the most peaceful sleep they would have for a long time. Deep in the forest, the darkness still held, and in the darkness, something stirred. He. I could feel it, still so small, but the soul of the god is growing day by day. He. My darling, my darling. The sky remained gray and cool, the air humid and clean. When everything was packed and ready, Tuak and Bao looked at Master Luong and nodded once. Old Zheng stood shirtless in a loincloth, barefoot, a knife at his waist, a bow across his back, and a crossbow in hand. Bald head, dense muscle, withered and steady. He looked like something the forest itself had produced. The two younger men were still getting used to the shaved head and trying not to smile. Master Luong adjusted his pack on his shoulder and said, "Is everything ready? Mr. Bao, take us to the stream where you found the gold. That is the first gate. We enter from there." Bao replied, "Trust me. Once I get to the edge, I know the way." Master Luong nodded. "Then, depart." Bao went first, then Old Zen, then Master Luong, and finally Tuak. The moment they stepped past the first trees, Master Luong felt it. A subtle wrongness in the air, an invisible pressure at the edges of things. Bao drew out a compass and held it up. "Look, we've barely entered the outer edge, and it's already responding." The compass needle trembled, dipped, rose again, and settled nowhere. It couldn't fix direction no matter how long Bao held it still. Bao said, "The compass doesn't help with direction in here, but it tells us something else. When the needle oscillates like this, we're at the outer edge. The deeper we go, the more violently it moves. That's how I've been gauging my depth over the past year, how close to the center I am. Tuok said, clever, always making something useful out of whatever is available. Bao signaled them forward. As they walked, he continued, this forest is enormous, and even the people who have lived beside it their whole lives don't venture in. Everything deep inside is still unknown. From the outside, standing high up, you can locate Mount Ubo easily enough. Once you are inside, everything reverses. Direction, distance, visibility, the shape of the vegetation. Nothing holds. I've been walking for a year, and every time I think I've finally found a straight line to the center, I end up back where I started, or somewhere I've never been. And there's something else. Maybe it's only my mind, but deep in the forest, there's always the feeling of being watched. Something tracking you, not animals. Master Luong had heard Tuak describe the same feeling. He said nothing yet. The forest deepened around them. The path narrowed, the ground steepened, and the canopy thickened until the sky was only glimpsed in fragments. Old Zhang called a halt around midday. Rest here. The terrain ahead is worse. Eat and drink before we continue. At the pace we're going, we'll reach the stream by dusk. Bao agreed. While they ate, he asked Tuak, before your group was chased by the people from the Mist Village, you had set up camp somewhere beautiful, near a stream, you said. Tuak nodded. Right. After Abuong found gold, we went back to replenish supplies, then returned and followed the stream upstream. It took us nearly a week to get there. The journey was strange. Everything went too smoothly. The route was clearer than it had any right to be, and every few days, someone else in the group found gold along the way. But I was uneasy from the moment we first found it. The same feeling you described, being watched. I kept suggesting we turn back. No one listened. When we finally reached upstream, where there was a waterfall and a lake, one person in our group found a wild chicken trap. In a place that wild, a trap like that meant people. My friend was certain we were close to the Mist Village. That night, someone in our group was killed and hung in a tree. After that, everything fell apart. Bao said quietly, that's also where Suong took me. Tuak nodded. When we found the stilt house and took shelter there, we were too exhausted to understand what was happening. We woke up in a cage, Old Shong said. So the village is somewhere around upstream, if we just follow the water. Master Luong shook his head. It's not that simple. A four waters formation uses four streams as four gates, creating a maze that swallows anyone who enters without knowing the pattern. The deeper you go inside the maze, the more impossible it becomes to get out. Second, and more importantly, your group didn't reach the upstream by your own skill or navigation. You were guided there. Mo Chok opened that path for you. From the moment the first gold was found, you were already his. Tuak stared. What? You mean, he wanted you there? Each piece of gold you found was another step closer to the cage. The route that seemed so clear, so convenient, was not a road. It was a leash. He looked at both Tuak and Bao, then said, there's something else I want to ask you both. What day, month, and year were you born? Both young men answered at the same moment, and the answer made old Zhang blink twice. Not only the same year, the same day, the same month. Old Jing said, "That cannot be coincidence." Master Luong showed no surprise at all, as though the answer had simply confirmed what he'd already suspected. Old Jing asked, "Why did you ask? And it sounds as though you already expected this." Master Luong smiled. "If I expected it, why would I ask? I had a few threads of reasoning that led me here. Looking at everything both of these boys have lived through, all the patterns, all the parallels, I had questions. And one more. When the girl Luong allowed her own soul to be destroyed to protect Mr. Tuok, something made her choose him specifically. Out of everyone who had ever passed through that forest, that choice needs an explanation." He pressed both thumbs to the pressure points on his palms, closed his eyes, and was still. No one spoke. After a few moments, Master Luong opened his eyes, stroked his silver beard, and smiled. "I see. Now I understand." Bao asked, "What is it?" "Please tell us." Master Luong replied, "Both of you were born in the year of the rat. The guardian Buddha for those born in the year of the rat is Quan Amtian Tu, the thousand-handed, thousand-eyed goddess of compassion, symbolizing boundless kindness and mercy, but also supreme awareness, 1,000 eyes to see through all things, all deceptions, all distances. And one more thing, according to my calculation, both of your lunar birthdays fall on the 19th day of the second lunar month, which is also the birthday of Quan Amtian Tu herself. Because of this, in moments of danger, the Buddha's universal grace has worked on both of you in small but real ways. A little extra clarity when minds should have clouded over, a little extra sense of something wrong when you should have walked forward blindly, a little extra luck at the edge of death. Tuok and Bao looked at each other. It did fit. Tuok had been the one in his group who kept feeling the unease, who kept asking to turn back. He hadn't known why. Bao had found gold in that forest and hadn't been consumed by it the way everyone else was, because the gold was never what he was looking for. Something larger had been working quietly in both of them, too subtle to name what it was happening. Master Luong continued, "This is also why Song chose Mr. Tuok. Among all the people in the forest that day, he was the one who carried the protection she could work with. She did not choose randomly. She chose the one who had the best chance of surviving with her help." The story moved through the group's weariness like a current, lifting everyone slightly. They finished eating and rested well before Bao led them on. This time, old Zhang had quietly repositioned himself. He now walked immediately behind Tuok, the last in line. Tuok and Bao didn't comment. Master Luong noticed and understood. The deeper they went, the more the forest changed around them. Not in visible ways. The trees remained trees. The path remained a path. But in a more interior way, a heaviness that settled over each of them at different moments. Bao stopped several times to check the map against what he could see, his brow furrowed. "Don't worry, he's still going the right way." The two old men said this in unison. Tuok asked old Zhang, "How do you know? Have you been here before?" "Of course not. But the grass, the moss, the texture of the ground, it's all a little greener, a little softer, a little wetter than where we came from. There's water not far ahead." Bao asked Master Luong, "And you?" "I could feel the formation beginning. This forest has been arranged. That's all I need to know." The group pressed on. By dusk, exactly as Bao had predicted, They reached the stream. The sound of water reached them before the trees thinned enough to see it. Bao said, "We're here. This is the stream." Master Luong looked at the scene in front of him. An old tree, mossy boulders, quiet run of water catching the last grey light. To any ordinary eye, it was simply a forest and a stream. To Master Luong, it was something else entirely. The arrangement was exact. He thought, this is truly the Four Waters formation. 4 streams as 4 gates, and at each gate, soul suppression. At first I thought I could slip through the formation without disturbing it, but there is no slipping through. Without breaking the formation, pushing forward means death, and breaking it means pulling every string in the trap, means Mo Chok will feel the gate give. Old Zhang swept ahead with a crossbow ready, scouting the immediate area. Nothing. Tuok asked, "What do we do now?" "Master, it's almost dark. Walking through this forest at night is extremely dangerous. We camp here. Tomorrow morning, we continue," Bao said. "From here, I don't know how to proceed. Do you have a plan?" "I have one. But before dawn, I'll need everyone's help. For now, eat, rest, recover your strength." While camp was being made, Tuok watched old Zhang tie strips of red cloth to branches near the path they'd come in by, marking the way back. Exactly. So when we leave, we have something to follow. Bao shook his head slightly. "I tried that. It didn't work from this point on." Old Jiang looked at him. "What do you mean?" "I can't explain it. Every time I came back, the markers I left were gone. Not fallen off. Gone. As though someone removed them. Bang." Old Jiang drove his knife hard into the tree trunk beside the branch he'd just marked. Tasks were divided. Tent building, firewood, water. Everyone worked efficiently, and within a short time, a meager but sufficient camp was assembled. They ate by the fire, white rice, wild vegetable soup, grilled bamboo shoots, dried meat. Owls called somewhere above them. Insects sang. The forest darkness pressed close against the firelight. Bao asked, "You said we'll need to do something before dawn. What is it?" Master Luong replied, "I'd rather not say yet. Sleep first. At exactly midnight, everyone must wake. After that, do exactly what I say." Bao looked at his watch. It was showing 8 o'clock, frozen since they entered the forest. He said, "How will we know when midnight comes? No device works in here." Master Luong smiled. "I've never needed a clock to know the time. But I shall warn you, what we're about to do tonight will be frightening." They settled down. Tuok and Bao were asleep within minutes. Master Luong dozed. Near what he judged to be midnight, the sound of dry wood crackling underfoot brought him fully awake. He sat up. One person was missing from the tent. Old Jing. Outside, Old Zhang sat alone by the fire. Keeping watch, adding wood, Master Luong stepped out. "Not sleeping at all. Is it the dream again?" Old Zhang nodded. "Even though I know it's just a dream, I can't help being wary. And there's one more thing keeping me awake. Something I noticed. You said I'd see, and I did." He turned around. His eyes were uncertain, disquieted. He pointed into the darkness ahead, toward the trees where he had tied his marker cloths and cut his knife mark. "The pieces of cloth I tied to the branches are all gone, and the cut I made in the tree trunk with my own knife is also gone." "What is this, Master? What is happening?" Master Luong asked again. "Gone. Tell me exactly." Old Zhang pointed into the darkness in front of them, toward the line of trees where he had tied his red markers. Every piece of cloth I tied has vanished. Not fallen, vanished. And the knife cut I put in that tree trunk with my own hand. That's gone too. What is this, Master? Master Luong added more wood to the fire. His face calm, he replied, So that's what's been worrying you? Yes. Anyone would be disturbed by something they cannot explain. But to me, this isn't strange, because I know someone is hiding those things. Old Zhang stared. Who? Or is it Tuok? I saw him come near the marker cloths before he went to sleep. It was him, wasn't it? Master Luong shook his head. You're still carrying too much doubt about Mr. Tuok, and you've forgotten one thing. Even if Tuok had hidden your cloths, Bao has described the same experience happening repeatedly over the past year, here and elsewhere in this forest. Tuok wasn't anywhere near the forest during all those times, and if hiding pieces of cloth is something a human can do, how do you explain a knife cutting a tree trunk disappearing? Old Zhen opened his mouth, closed it. He had been panicking, not thinking. Then, who? Master Luong replied, The dead. More accurately, a ghost. One that has existed in this place for a very long time. In the middle of the dark forest, with nothing between them and the silence, those words were enough to make old Zhong's skin pull tight. He reached for his crossbow without thinking. Roar! Roar! A sound from somewhere in the bushes. Old Zhong raised the crossbow and pointed it into the dark. Master Luong continued, Old Zhong, put it down. For now, the spirit means us no harm. It's nearly midnight. Before the young men wake, I need your help. He stood and walked toward the large tree ahead of him. He said, Please bring me the 4 bamboo sticks I set beside the tent last night. Old Zhen had seen Master Luong sharpening them the previous evening, about 2 handspans long, ends pointed. He had assumed they were arrows. He brought them over unwatched. Master Luong stood close to the tree, muttered something under his breath, then stepped deliberately to a position and planted his foot. In that position, he inserted 1 bamboo stick in the ground. Nail this exactly where I'm standing, about 2 finger joints deep. He stepped to 3 more positions around the base of the tree and repeated the process, each time directing Old Yuan to drive the stick in at the precise spot. When the 4 sticks were placed at the 4 corners of the tree's base, Master Luong said, Now go into the tent and wake Mr. Tuok and Mr. Bao. We have no digging tools. Can you find a way to break ground? Old Chen considered it. Cut a log to a sharpened point and use force. It'll take time, but it'll work. I'll manage it. While Old Chen roused the others, Master Luong took a roll of red thread and strung it between the 4 bamboo sticks. 2 rows of thread on each stick, each row 1 handspan apart from the other. He attached 8 yellow talismans to the lower row, 2 per section. Then he tied 4 small silver bells, each the size of a thumb, to the upper row. He stepped back and looked at the work. It was done. All it needed now was time. A wind passed through. The trees shuddered. The tent walls bowed inward. Then the wind faded as quickly as it had come, and the forest went still. Old Zhen came out of the tent, followed by Bao and Tuok, blinking in the firelight. Bao asked, What was that wind? But it was already gone. They gathered around the large tree. Tuok stared. What is all this? Master Luong turned and replied, Sit down, everyone. Before we begin, I need to explain clearly what we're doing. It's not time yet. More wood went on the fire. Master Luong pointed at the large tree and said, "What you see around it is a formation to restrain and control evil spirits. In a moment, you'll understand why." Tuok swallowed. "Ghosts? Master, you're saying there are ghosts here?" Master Luong said, "Ask old Zheng, or simply think back. You and Bao both said that deep in the forest, you always had the feeling of being watched, followed, something looking at you from just out of sight." Both of them nodded. Master Luong continued, "Now I'll explain. This forest, as I've described, is arranged according to the four waters formation. At each of the four gates, each stream, in each direction, the five elements have been laid out. You've both told me what you found at those locations, and I built my analysis from your words. When we arrived here, I had no remaining doubt. The position we're sitting in now is one of those four gates, and at each gate, there is something more than the five elements." He paused. "There is a doorkeeper." Bao asked, "A doorkeeper? What is that?" "My own name for it is something like the guardian statues at the entrance of temples and pagodas, figures placed to watch the threshold. But where a temple uses tomb and ceremony, this formation uses something far more terrible, the soul suppression technique. The practitioner who set this formation used evil magic to capture and bind the souls of the dead to these locations. Those souls cannot be reborn. They cannot leave. They are forced to remain here forever, doing as commanded." Old Zhang said slowly, "So the thing that hid my marker cloths was the ghost of someone who died here long ago?" "Yes," he continued. "Every person who has ever passed through one of these gates has been harassed by the spirit bound there. Greedy men with dark desires, are drawn deeper in by the ghost's guidance. People of clearer spirit, those not ruled by greed, feel the harassment, but can still sense the danger and retreat. Tuok and Bao were both born on Quan Am Tien Thu's day, and so they were protected enough to push through what others couldn't withstand. That's why the people who go in searching for gold don't come back. The formation traps them. The bound spirits guide them deeper. And from the beginning, Mr. Tuok's group was being herded, not by coincidence or bad luck, but by Mo Chok's design. He knew they were coming the moment they passed the gate. Through the soul suppression technique, he can feel everything that happens inside the formation. Tuok turned to look around at the trees, his voice tight. "Then, does that mean, now that we're here, Mo Chok already knows?" Master Luong replied, "No, not now, because of this." He touched the mutual generation talisman at his neck. Bao said, "Because the talisman uses the same elements arranged at each gate. The five elements we carry with us cancel out what the gate is looking for." Master Luong smiled. "Something like that." Tuok let out a long breath. "Then we don't have to worry. We just pass through and continue on." Master Luong replied, "That was my first thought too, but it's not that simple. If we leave this gate intact, the spirit bound here will follow us. It will harass us the deeper we go, and it will find ways to undermine us that I may not be able to counteract while we're moving. We need to break the gate." Old Zheng understood. "That's why you set up the formation, why you had me find tools to dig." "Is all for..." Master Luong looked at the large tree. "To break the battle, and beyond that, keeping a soul imprisoned in this place for however many years it has been kept here is unacceptable. Breaking the formation frees it. That is what must be done. Tuok smiled crookedly despite himself, and after the formation is broken, Master Luong replied, Mochuk will know the gate has been broken, and then he will come hunting for us. He said it with a slight smile, as if this were simply one more thing on a long list. Master Luong looked at the three of them and said quietly, If anyone is afraid, I'll do this alone. We have only just stepped into the forbidden ground. Whoever wants to turn back, now is the time. Going forward means confronting the devil. Old Zheng grabbed his knife and stood up. Tuok looked at him. Old Zheng, are you leaving? Old Zheng replied, I'm going to find something to dig with. Bao smiled slightly and said, I've never believed in spirits or spells or any of this, so let me see it for myself. I'll go with old Zhen. Both of them rose and went to find tools. That left Tuok alone with Master Luong. Unlike the other two, Tuok had seen what Mo Chuk could do. He had watched his friends die. He had lived a nightmare. The others could speak of confronting demons with clear eyes because they had never faced one. Tuok had faced one and survived, and the memory of it lived in his body as much as his mind, surfacing in cold sweat at the sound of the right word, in the involuntary clench of the hands when certain images rose unbidden. Master Luong told him, I know you're frightened. What you witnessed, your friends dying that way, that is not something a person forgets or moves through easily. You've already done more than anyone could ask of you. Just by being here, there's no shame in stopping. You can still go back. Tuok said nothing. He looked down at his clenched hands. The trembling was slight, but visible. Sweat moved down his jaw. In the background, old Zhong and Bao were already carving the end of a log into a point for digging. Master Luong looked up at the sky, nearly midnight, and went to join them. Old Zhong asked, What do you need us to do? For now, both of you go behind the fire. Whatever you hear, keep your eyes shut and your ears covered. What matters most is this. Keep your will firm. Don't let fear shake you. The spirit bound here is not an ordinary ghost, and the formation I've set will only hold for a limited time. If we lose focus, we won't just fail to break the gate. We may not survive it. He looked once more at Tuok, still sitting alone, still trembling. The darkness of the forest pressed in from all sides. The memory of Mo Chuk was inside Tuok, like a shard of glass he couldn't remove. Master Luong said, As long as you can let go of the fear inside yourself, we'll be all right. Tuok looked up. After a long moment, he nodded. Master Luong went to the front of the large tree and sat cross-legged before it. He joined his hands together, pressed 2 fingers to the seal, closed his eyes, and began to recite the mantra. The sound that came from Master Luong's lips was low and rhythmic and strange. Tuok got goosebumps simply hearing it. Everything became still. The forest was completely, mechanically quiet. Not a leaf moved, not an insect called. The only sounds were the fire and Master Luong's voice and the faint echo of Tuok's own heartbeat. Old Jun and Bao closed their eyes. Even with eyes shut, even with both hands pressed over their ears, the silence was more unsettling than noise. Then the wind began buzz of woo, whoosh. Master Luong's voice rose. Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. The tent flapped and strained. In the sound of the wind, all 3 of them began to hear something else, something that had no body, but that filled the air like sound. Hole, hole, hole. The howling wind carried within it the groan of something in pain, a sound of complaint, of suffering, of something that had been restrained for too long. The fire buckled and bent, nearly going out. The red threads strung between the bamboo sticks snapped taut and shivered. The silver bells rang. Jin, king, ling, kin, ling. From the direction of the large tree, a thorny, rustling sound, branches moving against one another with deliberate wrongness. Cat, kel, neg, neg. All three of them pulled their knees in. The sound was in their bones as much as their ears. And then a voice came from inside the tree, low and dry and ancient. You all must die. Master Luong kept reciting. The bells rang in all directions. Old Zhang and Bao felt the pressure first, a weight settling onto their chests, making each breath harder than the last. With every creak from the tree, the weight increased, and in their heads, the voice returned. You will have to die. Old Zhang covered his ears more tightly. The voice only became clearer. The same for Bao and for Tuak. For Tuak, this crushing dread was not unfamiliar. It was exactly what he had felt in Mo Chok's presence. It was the same sensation, the same spiritual pressure, pushing him toward the breaking point. The other two were still managing. Tuak was reaching his limit. He pressed his hands to his head and doubled over. Forgive me, for me, Phew. The first thread snapped. Master Luong's brow furrowed. Sweat traced down his face. He did not open his eyes. Behind him, Tuak had his head to the ground, screaming into the earth. Don't say any more. Don't say any more. Forgive me. Phew. The second thread broke. 2 rows of threads, strung between 4 bamboo sticks at the 4 corners of the tree's base, had lost 2 of their spans. The structure of the formation was unraveling. Master Luong muttered, "Not yet. I need just a little more time. The devil's voice is breaking you. If this continues, we all die here." The remaining threads glowed faintly, stretched to breaking. With Tuok's will gone, Master Luong's working had begun losing his anchor. One more thread breaking would be the end. But at that moment, someone acted. Before Tuok could cry out again, there was a sharp sound, and then silence. Bump. Tuok lay still. He would not wake for some time. Old Zhang had delivered one precise blow to the back of Tuok's neck. A single strike, controlled and certain, dropping him instantly into unconsciousness. Brutal, perhaps. Necessary, without question. Master Luong lost no further concentration. He kept reciting, kept his position, kept the formation intact through the howling of the voice and the tearing of the wind. Finally, he stood. He walked to the trunk of the large tree and took from his bag a red talisman, the size of his palm, on the silver nail. He placed the talisman against the bark. He picked up a stone and drove the nail through the talisman and into the tree in one blow. The wind stopped. The trees were still. The voice was gone. The silver bells hung quiet. The fire climbed back up to its full height. Old Zhang and Bao opened their eyes. They could breathe. The presence that had been bearing down on their minds had lifted, as completely as though it had never been. Master Luong said, without turning around, "Dig. We don't have much time. This working will only hold for half an hour. And before you begin, take Mr. Tuok into the tent." Bao lit additional fire around the base of the tree to give them light. As he did, he noticed something running from the silver nail, a thick, viscous liquid, dark as old sap, moving like blood down the bark. He turned away quickly and didn't look again. Old Jean drove the improvised digging tool into the soil. As the dark earth turned up, he asked, "What exactly is buried here?" Master Luong replied, "We'll find out when we dig it up."